I think the start to the match was just kind of strange. And we got off to a bit of a lopsided start, even though I didn't think we were playing real well. And then they started to make some plays, and they put up a block. And I think they unnerved us a little bit that way. And we seemed surprised with a number of things that happened. And that happens sometimes when you get an early lead like that. And so we kind of struggled through that first set to regain our momentum. And I thought we were playing better at the end of the first set. And then I think in sets 2 and 3, overall we played pretty well. So we'll need to play better tomorrow, but it wasn't a bad first match.
We're open for questions.
Payton, I have a question regarding, I call it a dink, whatever your soft touch. You seem to have got that down pretty good. How much time do you spend on that particular play?
I would say I do work on it a lot in practice, and I try to really mix it up in practice so that in the game I can do that also. But when we get that pass on the setter and the set's right there, a lot of times the other team thinks we're going to hit it. But so I would really give that.
I've seen you in a couple matches.
I think sometimes I overdo it a little bit. So then at that point, I think they'll kind of read me a little bit more. But I try to mix it up so that they can't.
How much does having multiple setters on the floor give you guys an advantage in that? I think their coaches earlier said they sometimes just weren't sure where the ball was coming from. Talked about that earlier. Do you think that really helps you guys?
You know, man, I'm not sure. There are advantages and there are disadvantages. The advantages is that there is a little bit of a confusion factor for the defense in terms of knowing who's setting. Sometimes I look out on the floor and I forget who's setting in that particular rotation. I'll say something to Olivia about where to go with the ball, and then I realize that she's not the setter in that rotation. She's our left back in that rotation. The disadvantage is that you've got 3 setters setting somewhat different balls. So for your hitters, you lose some of the consistency. But the reason we do it is because all 3 of our setters are kids with multi-skills, and we just feel like we need them as passers, as serve receivers, as attackers, things like that. So this is the second time, it's really the third year, not the third year in a row, but it's the third year in the last 14 years that we've run a 6-3 offense. The other 2 times, I think maybe were in 2003 and 2004, somewhere in there. But it's different. There's no question about that. It's different. How much of an advantage it gives us in terms of being deceptive, I'm not sure, but it helps us from the standpoint that we really get to use the various skills that our setters have.
How long did it take you?
I think from that point we kind of just had to stay calm and not get frenzied about it. Just play our game and try not to pay attention to what they were doing on their side.
Do you think as a team you were frazzled by a couple of their blocks?
I think I would say yeah. I think we were a little bit, but I think after the point we really did a good job of just coming together in the middle and saying, okay, we have the next one, and not dwelling on it too much, which I thought helped us to continue to get the next point throughout the whole match.
Any special pressure on being the #1 team during the majority of the season, if not the entire season, and being the #1 seed in the tournament? Any special pressure?
I don't think there is when we get here. I do think that when you have a year where you've got expectations of being in the tournament again, and you know that you've got a good chance and that you're going to be favored in most matches, although with the schedule we play, we aren't favored in necessarily most matches. But I've always said that the grind in those types of years is in the section tournament. You have to work your way through that, and there might be more pressure in that tournament than there is here. I think once you get here, and once you get this first one under your belt, I think you're pretty juiced up and you're anxious to play each of those 3 days, and 3 days doesn't take very long to get through.